What's up, Cancer? Welcome to your November 2020 Creativity Tarot reading. My name is Kaylee Jean, and welcome to my channel. I record these readings for artists, entrepreneurs, and anyone who's working on their personal growth, self-expression, or spirituality in any form. So if there's areas of life are important for you, or you're interested in entrepreneurship and kind of just making things happen for yourself, definitely stick around. I want to just get right into your meditation. So while I was tuning in, I had a really interesting message. I'm not sure if it's just for someone specific out there or maybe just a handful of people. But I kind of was getting this image of, this is going to sound really weird, guys, but I was kind of getting an image of a cross, like a Christian cross. And the feeling that came through along with that kind of gave me this message that this month for you, it really is about releasing an expectation that you've had of yourself to either save other people or to make everything okay for other people. I feel like there's this relief that happens for you in November when you let go of trying to save everyone. And like I said, this is probably a really, really specific and impactful message for one of you out there, but I feel like maybe the rest of you are like, I don't know what that means for me. But I do really get this impression, like, for someone out there, it's like you have taken this role that you've been in very seriously, and I feel like it is because you care, but also I feel that right now, for whatever reason, there's some energies that are coming in that are causing you to have to rethink your whole approach when it comes to your relationships that you have with people in your life, particularly the ones that tend to take up the most of your mental kind of brain power and your bandwidth, so to speak. I feel like you've been trying to rescue someone, or maybe a lot of people, if you're in a helping profession, for example, like counseling or social work or anything like that. And I think that it's not that you're going to be approaching your work with any less integrity, or that you're going to be not showing up as much in your relationships if it's like happening in your personal relationships, but more what I'm feeling is this recognition of the truth of your limitations as just one human being. You can't fix anything for anyone else. All you can do is be an example of someone who's being self-responsible and of someone who has empathy. But you don't have the ability, it's not within your power or your control, Cancer, to rescue or redeem or save or just, in any way, shape, or form influence someone else's life path to the degree that their own choices won't negatively affect them anymore. It's just not in your power to do that. So maybe this is just about, if you're in a helping profession, it could just be about recognizing your limitations as a therapist or as a counselor or a coach or a social worker or whatever other type of job you might be in. It's about really just settling into your actual role and not trying to, be in your actual role, but then also trying to take care of all these other things. It's about making peace with just the truth. And the truth is, you are a limited human being like we all are. You're imperfect and flawed like we all are. And you have limited time and resources, and you have limited influence. So you just have to work your best magic, your best intention within the limitations that you reasonably have, and let everything else go up to the universe. So let's go ahead and take a look at your cards. Let's take a look at your Bob Ross message. And I'm going to get you a wisdom of the, or it's the Sacred Destiny Oracle. And this kind of shows us the landscape that you're walking through. So let's take a look at your path. It's the earthworm, and the obstacle is the butterfly. Fascinating. So we have a very literal butterfly and caterpillar butterfly situation going on in this reading, Cancer. So yeah, I mean, this could not be any more direct. I feel like essentially this earthworm card is saying, with all of this beautiful color in the inside of the worm, you have all of this insight and imagination, or you have all of these skills and ideas that you would really benefit and other people would benefit from you sharing, but you're holding them in because maybe you're worried that you don't have enough experience, or you're dealing with a little bit of imposter syndrome. Or maybe you're just at the onset, and so you feel like hesitant to kind of break the ice in some way. But the butterfly is the influence, so you're definitely going to share all those bright, beautiful colors, that you're holding right now, present within you. And I see you really blossoming at some point. I would say between now and January of 2021, you're going to feel a very rapid blossoming process happening in your life, where you're going to feel just that your self-expression is expanding, and that your ideas are flowing, and that things are unfolding for you in a really authentic and personal way. So that's super exciting. I want to get a look at your landscape that you're walking through. Oh, you got Gateway. Another sign already got this card too. So this is really about moving through a threshold, and it's about basically just being your crazy, unique self with the unicorn. I think this is such a beautiful card. It shows that the situation or the landscape is varied, right? There's mountains and there's valleys. So there's going to be ways to move through the upcoming walk that you're taking. There's going to be specific ways to move through it. And I think you just have to be in tune with your internal landscape and what feels right to you to determine, the easiest path to walk through these mountains and around, whatever obstacles that are natural that are going to be in your way. There's always going to be a way through them. So that's kind of the message I'm getting here. Let's take a look at your cards. Wow. You've got the Tower, the Five of Swords, the Page of Cups, the Warrior of Swords, the Empress, the Warrior of Wands, and you've got the Star and the Ten of Wands. Beautiful. This is a really unique deck. It was made in 1929. It's the Napal Tarot, and I absolutely just felt drawn to it. So sometimes the way that doors are opened for us in life, Cancer, is through some kind of either big change or something, that's painful in a way. It's funny, but the thing that's coming to mind when I look at this card, and maybe it's just because of the Tower itself or the illustration, the way it's illustrated, but it makes me think of the Game of Thrones character. I don't remember his name, but he's the one who sees. He has the power of sight, and he got that because he was thrown from the window of the tower after he saw something he wasn't supposed to see that was going on inside. But then he broke his legs, but then as a result he became this kind of different person than anybody expected him to be. He became, obviously very psychic and played a really important role in the outcome of the series. And so there is something here about that, especially because you have the Five of Swords coming up with it. It's something that was a disappointment maybe in the past, or something that felt like a sharp fall, is actually becoming your strength. With the Five of Swords, it is associated with some pain and disappointment, but the Tower is also a moment of liberation. And I think this is really highlighting the fact that anytime that something happens in our lives, we don't really know the reason why until later. So we can think that our worst day is our worst day, but then that could end up, when you look back on your life, that could actually have been the best day of your life in a way, because it leads you on this path towards exactly what you wanted, but that you never anticipated, the way to get to it. And so the universe kind of does it for you, or it cracks you open so that you can share your gifts, or you can be a more vocal version of yourself. And so you're not like imprisoned anymore in the habits and the roles and the expectations that people have of you, right? So there is something here about maybe a painful, like a shock to the system that you're dealing with, or maybe that you are looking back on. It may not even be that it's necessarily happening in the first week of November, but it's definitely around you as an influence of learning and growth. And it's ultimately kind of opening you up. I think this was like this. It's opening you up to the next phase. And so it's a necessary like crack, right? It's a crack in, you're cracking something so that you can put it together again and it will be even more beautiful. The second week of November, you have, and this deck calls the pages slaves. I don't know if I really like that word, but it's an old deck. So, just to be responsible to the creator and like what they put into it. But the Slave of Cups, and then you have the Warrior of Swords. So one of the things that I do kind of get with this is that, and this is maybe going to sound kind of interesting, but I look at this and I see, okay, the slave, or like the servant of cups, he's chained, right? And cups are about our emotions. They're about our instinctive reactions to life. And then we have the Warrior of Swords, which he's completely suited up and he's in motion, and swords connect to the mind, right? And logic. So what I'm kind of getting here, and I hope that nobody takes offense to this message, but I kind of feel like in the second week of November, you might be understanding more about some emotional habit patterns that you've sort of chained yourself to without realizing it, and which have caused repetitive kind of suffering for you in your life. So maybe it's a relationship that was incredibly difficult for you, and the dissolution of it has been really messy, and it's gone on for years, even though maybe you've dated other people and they've dated other people. It's like you still have this either like kind of wound about it, or this chip on your shoulder, or maybe you have a tendency to get back together and then it doesn't work. And again, this could also be relating to your career. It could be something that you constantly use against yourself in your career or in your creativity, like a belief that you continuously think that it's like a thought that you keep thinking that causes an emotional reaction that locks you into like a lower emotional state than you really deserve to be in, Cancer. Like, you deserve to be happy, you deserve to move towards what you want in life, and you have an incredible amount of emotional power, which is what motivation really is. In human beings, emotions are behind all of our decision making. Science suggests that even very rational, logical people, ultimately what really causes us to make a decision at the very moment that we make it, there is emotional centers of the brain that are being activated. So given that you are an emotional sign, and it is the sign, a water sign, you can hang on to emotions for a long time, and that can become an incredible source of either misery for you, or it can become an incredible source of power. And I think that that's what this is about in the second week of November. It's like, is that going to make me or break me? It's that kind of energy. And maybe, again, it's something from your past. Maybe it's a breakup that happened a year ago or 2 years ago, but you've been in contact with the person, or it's been messy and difficult. It's like, all right, what am I going to do about this? Like, what is my core decision on this? And then you can actually free yourself and move forward. But moving forward is going to look quite logical. It's going to look quite scientific oriented. It's going to look quite pragmatic, right? With the Warrior of Swords, it's not necessarily about how you felt in the past. It's more about what your strategy is about your future. And I think that that feels crisp. It feels capable. It feels empowering. It feels exciting, to suit up and soldier on and just be ready to make something happen for yourself. So if you've had something that was a disappointment in business, for example, Cancer, if you've had maybe a partner in business who backstabbed you, or you had something that was a disappointment or a letdown in your past when it comes to your career, it's like you're making this pivotal decision in the second week of November that really defines yourself, who you are as a creator, as an entrepreneur, in a totally new way. And it frees you from the pains and the disappointments of the past. And again, you are such a powerful sign in the way that you use emotion and the way that you store emotion, that when you change just something small about how you think about that, you're going to be a freaking power horse. Like you are going to be insanely effective, because all of a sudden, all this emotional energy that was being redirected on some unconscious level towards healing this wound is now coming out full force and radiant, giving you the power and the motivation and the decisiveness to go forward and succeed anyway, and sort of break through whatever your prior limitations were. So it's actually it is kind of a painful message I get in the first couple weeks of November, but by the new moon in Scorpio, which is for you going to be in your 5th house, that's going to be a rebirth for you when it comes to your creativity, and maybe even when it comes to romance for some of you as well. So the 3rd week of November, you've got the Empress and the Warrior of Wands, which is the Knight of Wands. This is very exciting. The Empress, I always think of as a bit of a Cancerian card anyway, because Cancer is the sign of the mother in a very broad terms, and the Empress is kind of like the mother with a big M, right? It's like the archetypal mother. And the Knight of Wands, or the Warrior of Wands, is all about taking action and initiating things. So one thing that I could see is either for some of you, a lot of creative energy, like you could be feeling very, very inspired and very, very efficient when it comes to your creativity. So for example, if you're a painter and you normally paint, 1 painting a week or something like that, you could do 3 in 1 week. And it's just a lot, but it's all coming through you so quickly, and there's no obstacles, there's no mental blockages, there's no hangups. You're just kind of painting like a crazy person. I think that is the energy, whether you're an author or a painter or a potter or, even somebody who does real estate. It's like, whoa, you've got, several very hot irons in the fire, and things are just happening for you really, really quickly, and things are just coming together. I love this. I feel like this 3rd week of November could be very, very good for abundance for you. The sun will be reaching the later degrees of Scorpio by that time, and so you could be just feeling a boost if you have things that are later in the degrees of Cancer. They're going to be getting a trine from the sun at that time. So you could just feel like the metaphysical sort of winds are in your sails, so to speak, and just really able to make a lot of progress. The end of the month, you follow up with the 10 of Wands, which is the 10 of Batons in this deck, and you also have the Star. So this is about hope and faith and believing in your future, believing in yourself. I also feel like the end of the month, after the sun goes into Sagittarius, you might need to take a little bit of time off. You might need a spa day, Cancer, or you might need a massage, or you may need some kind of time off, something to relax, something to help yourself unwind, because I feel like with the 10 of Batons, it's like everything's all lined up in the pentagram, but there's not a lot of free energy, so to speak. Like it feels like everything's very bonded together, and so the Star kind of represents that relaxation, that sense of if you lay down on a yoga mat, for example, and you just consciously relax all of your muscles completely. That's kind of like the Star feeling. It's just letting everything go, and feeling very present and very at peace. So I feel like at the end of the month, it is going to be about getting a little bit of R&R. You might need to sleep a little more or take some things off of your schedule so that you can have a little bit more downtime. All right, so your Bob Ross message is, oh, this is a good one. Let me extend a personal invitation for you to drag out your brushes and a few paints and paint along with us. So yeah, it's like come out and play, Cancer. I mean, you have every reason to share the stuff that you have going on. You're going from a caterpillar phase to a butterfly phase in November. And that's starting very abruptly right away because you have the towers. So I wish you all of my best blessings and goodwill for your month ahead. I hope it's really beneficial for you. If you enjoyed this reading, please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. You also can subscribe to notifications and take care of yourselves. I will talk to you next time.